Alrighty, welcome back. Area of Study 2. This is now Chapter 14 of the Corporate Culture and Strategies to Develop It, an overview of the learning organization by Peter Senge. We are going to explore the concepts of developing a corporate culture and the success criteria. I can explain strategies that develop corporate culture, explain the concept of learning organization, explain high and low risk strategies. All right, we'll pause here for the think, pair, share, but the quote is, the most effective people are those who can hold their vision while remaining committed to seeing current reality clearly. So, and that's by Peter Senge. So pause here for your think, pair, share. All right, welcome back. Now, the keywords that we have for 14.1 are corporate culture and strategies for its development to respond to change. There are no keywords in the textbooks themselves, but we've just recycled the ones that we had previously. So corporate culture is a system of shared values and beliefs of people within a business. The difference, though, is you have your official corporate culture, so the desired culture that a business wishes to establish, so what they want to happen and what is actually portrayed out into the public and within their company. But the real or the unofficial culture is the actual or prevailing culture that exists within a business. So you could want to have a culture of innovation and hard work, but the real one or the actual one, it could not be that. So you might not have the innovation, hard work, unless until you've implemented the strategies to actually develop that. 14.2 looks at an overview of the learning organization by Senge and the need to create a positive culture for change. So we have systems thinking here, so looking at a management as a whole and the interrelationship between all parts while applying a long-term approach. So this is the system or the principles that you're going to apply as part of the learning organization. Another key word is personal mastery. So the discipline of continually clarifying and deepening personal vision. This involves growth in competence and skills. So it is the individual themselves that's going to continue to improve themselves. Mental models. So this is the entrenched assumptions, generalizations, and images of how people understand the world. It is important to mold organizations' shared mental models. So these are things that how your individual people approach the world or look at the world. But what you want to do is you want to make a mental model for your business and how they approach different issues or situations. And you want to keep that consistent amongst your whole organization. Next, it's still the same thing. Next is building shared vision. So this is similar to what I was talking about with mental models, but now the building a shared vision is the vision of the organization's future built by a range of people that encourages the team to experiment and innovate. So building a shared vision means a whole different levels are going to be building this, and then different departments are going to be building this, just so that if it is from different people, it's the shared vision. So there's going to be a lot more buy-in or more participation into this shared vision because it's something that the whole company wants. Next is team learning. So the process where the team members develop team capacity to create desirable results for all. So you can look at it in two different ways. So how do you increase the team capacity of individual people? So then the whole team skills increases, or how do you build the teamwork and the cohesion within a team, so then they can work together better. Therefore, they're more efficient and more effective as a team. Next is 14.3. This is low risk strategies to overcome employee resistance. So low risk strategies talk about your participative approaches to implement change, using communication, empowerment, work groups, and support for those who are impacted upon. So you are going to include them in terms of your implementation strategies. The opposite of that is the high risk strategies, and that is an autocratic approach to implementing change involving use of force, threats, and manipulation of situations. So autocratic means it's going to be more top down. It's like a my way or the highway situation. And you are using threats, force, and manipulation. So you're going to be manipulating your team to get what it is that you want as in like what the leadership wants. So this is the introduction to it. So the general idea is corporate culture encompasses the values, beliefs, and practices that shape an organization's environment. So that's what corporate culture is made up of. So just like what it talks about on here, all of these different things, they make up your corporate culture. And keeping in mind, this right here could be both your official and then your real corporate culture. It's just how effective or how close is your real culture to your official culture is basically the balancing act. But this corporate culture, it works in both ways. The link to the business objectives is if you have a strong positive corporate culture, it enhances your efficiency, your productivity, and your employee satisfaction, and especially during your change. So if you are going through change, if you have good corporate culture, you can have a successful change that's been implemented. So this is how you develop your corporate culture when you have to respond to change. So these are the strategies that you have. So like what I talk about with the different strategies or different concepts, just remember maybe 2 or 3, just so it's something for you to develop a little bit more or to have more detail in your answers. So revising, so what I would maybe suggest is this one here. This is a very obvious one. So revising and embedding vision and value statements. So if you have like value statements that you can share amongst all of your team or all of your organization, so something that everyone needs to strive for, that's a really powerful one. And it's even more powerful if you include or if you have a participative approach where you have the say of the different teams in actually creating these visions and these value statements as well. If you change your management styles, so like what we were talking about between the difference between the high risk and the low risk with autocratic and then participative. So if you have a more participative management style, then you're going to have more people on board when you're actually needing to change or responding to change. Right. So you're going to have more employee satisfaction as well when you have a participative management style. And then, of course, if you this business policies is really linked to this as well. But I would suggest this one also with the developing employees. So if you develop employees through training, through communications, what's going to happen is they're going to understand the change more. They're going to understand the rationale behind it more. And then they'll also be more upskilled. So they'll be more responsive, or they're going to agree and comply better with the changes or the changes that you want to be implementing as well, or the different strategies you want to implement. So this is what it talks about with the learning organization. So as you can see, it is a constant cycle here. this is how, so the concept that we have is a framework for organizations to adapt, learn, and innovate continuously. And we've included here just to apply it for Amazon, for example, but the different concepts that we have are part of basically like the pillars or the principles of the learning organization. So systems thinking, we have personal mastery, the mental models, building a shared vision, and then team learning as well. So it's basically what we talked about in the previous keywords. But these right here, this is how it applies to Amazon. Now, this is basically the need for positive culture for change. So the need, it needs to be effective, and for change to be effective and sustained. So if you want to make a change for something, you need to have a positive culture that supports learning and adaptation. Otherwise, if you don't have a positive culture, then people are going to be against it, or they're going to be resistant to the changes that you want to make. The way that you're going to implement this is through practices of shared vision, of continuous learning, and team collaboration. So you have the shared vision, meaning that everyone wants to do the same thing. You have your continuous learning, so you're going to continue to develop your people, and then the team collaboration, of course, is within a team themselves. They're going to work well together. Between different teams, they're going to work well together, and that's why it's really important to have this shared vision, because you may have different teams working with each other, and if everyone is working towards the same goal, that the whole organization is going to be more effective. These are the two like mini case studies that we have between a positive and negative culture and how it affects the change. So, for example, we had Costco is known for paying its employees well above the average retail wage. Costco's culture is one of respect and rewards for hard work. The company also offers benefits like health insurance and retirement plans to both full-time and part-time employees. So, you're paying people above the retail wage, so they're going to be more satisfied because you are investing in them and you're paying them more. This is more specifically for America, because in America you have to pay for health insurance to basically go to the hospital. But if health insurance is covered as part of it, then they're going to feel more satisfied with working for that company. So they have a good positive culture, so people are going to be working hard at that place. A negative culture is talking about Enron. So Enron was an oil company, and Enron's downfall in 2001, so they went bankrupt, was due in large part to its corporate culture that promoted excessive risk-taking and unethical behavior. The company's culture encouraged manipulation and deceit to meet financial targets and maintain stock prices, which eventually led to its bankruptcy. So these guys were unethical. So within their corporate culture, it was pretty negative. So like we talked about here, was manipulation as well. So they were doing some dodges in their financials. So it may have looked good on paper, but in actual, they didn't have the financial performance as they were reporting on, which led them to go bankrupt. So that's the effects basically of having a positive culture compared to a negative culture. So these are some of the low risk strategies that you can implement for overcoming resistance to change, because anytime that there is going to be a change in your current operations, there is going to be some resistance. But when you're doing some low risk strategies, it's going to be you're going to overcome these resistance more effectively, right? Or you're going to have a better long-term outcome than if you go to the high risk strategy. So some of the strategies that include are communication, empowerment, support, and incentives. And the examples for this are regular updates, a feedback process. So if you're going to implement something, what are you have to give an opportunity for your team and your organization to let the management know and leadership know if something's going well or something's going poorly. Training and support. So of course, if you're going to make a change for something, you're going to need to train them on how to do it, and how to do it well. Otherwise, if you're going to tell them to do this thing and you don't tell them how to do it, they're going to be disgruntled, as you would expect. Incentives, of course, those would be some things like performance related pay, as well. It's like bonuses. The benefits of having these low risk strategies are these strategies foster acceptance and commitment to change by involving and valuing employees. So you are including them as part of the process, and because they feel part of the process and part of the change, they're going to be less resistant to that change. So it's going to be better in the long run. So you might have a few grumbles here and there to begin with, but in the long run, because you're involving them as part of the process, they're going to be more willing. Next, we have the high risk strategies for overcoming resistance. So some strategies that you would include are manipulation and threat. These are basically from your management, your leadership, down to the rest of your company or your organization. So examples of this would be quick rollout. So just all these change really quickly and not including your team as part of the change. Lack of clear communication of plans. So if you're not telling your team, your organization what's happening, that's going to be detrimental, because obviously they don't know what it is that's going on. Threats of demotion or coercion. So threats of demotion means that, or it could also be that you are not going to give them a promotion. So that's another way of including this. So demotion means instead of promotion, so going upwards, demotion means you're going to lose your titles. Or you can threat them, excuse me, you can threaten them by not giving them a promotion. Or coercion would be like do this or else you're fired, something like that. Okay. The risk of doing these kind of things, these kind of strategies, it is going to be potentially effective in the short term. So you might have a really quick turnaround, but these strategies can harm trust, morale, and long-term success. So for example, you might be compliant right then and there, but in the long run, you're going to feel betrayed by your company, because they're doing these basically dodgy stuff to get you to comply with the changes that they want to implement. And that's basically it. We'll go back to the learning organization. So that's a really big part of this chapter. When we talk about systems thinking in terms of Amazon, so Amazon's leaders design and continually optimize these systems to adapt to changing market conditions and internal growth dynamics, ensuring sustainability and scalability. So if we think about it, the systems that they would be including are some situations where we have the production process, or using the different robots to pick from the stock, and then that's what gets sent out. So those are the different systems that they think about. So it's a smooth or efficient operation. Excuse me. Next, we have the personal mastery. So leaders at Amazon foster an environment where continuous learning is valued and necessary tools and opportunities for growth are provided, aligning personal achievements with organizational goals. So basically what they want to do is they're going to provide training and development for the people, and they want to match what it is that the individual person is achieving to what the organization wants to achieve also. All right, so they're pairing those two things together. Mental models. Leaders promote experimentation, encouraging employees to question conventional wisdom and explore new ways of achieving business outcomes. So this is talking about challenging the status quo. So you're not going to do something because it's something that they've always done. So you would see that there's a lot of innovation in the way that they run their business. So I think that it's still in the kind of the testing phase where there was a Amazon store where you go in, you buy, you get what it is that you want, and you leave. Excuse me, and then you leave. And you don't actually need to pay at the registrar or anything like that. That's like an innovation to try to challenge the status quo. Like you don't need to see a checkout person. Next is building a shared vision. So leaders communicate this vision clearly and repeatedly, integrating it into corporate culture and decision-making processes, ensuring all employees are aligned and motivated by this common goal. So I think one of their values is being customer obsessed. So they are very focused on the customer and customer experience. So anything that each of the departments do or each team does, it is all to achieve this shared vision of how do we get the best customer experience. And then lastly, what we have is team learning. So Amazon's leaders create structures and forums that encourage team collaboration and collective problem solving, thereby enhancing team performance and innovation. So there's like a synergy between the different teams that they have. An example of this would be how do the website, so the actual buying the stuff online, how do they work well with the sending out from the warehouses? So it's about how do you incorporate these collaborations between the two so it's the most efficient when it comes out to the customer. Because like for example, you need to have really good communication and good systems between the online team and the warehouse team to achieve something like a same day delivery, for example, or the next day delivery. So you need to have really good communication between the two. So when you talk about the Learning Organization by Peter Senge, it is a framework to adapt, learn, and innovate continuously. And these are the different ways that you would do it. All right. So that is it for this chapter. Happy studying.